This is PM on FN, and you're alive here, right now. So guys, welcome to the side table where everything can happen here at the UIB. Today, we are honored to host someone whose work shapes the heart of a UIB, the head of human resources, and of course, she is Miss Christina Nelson. Hello, Christina.
Hi, Dina. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to speak to you about a field that's evolving and rapidly growing, and it reorganizes the organization and the growth. So human resources, or some of the buzzwords now are people operations and people and culture and talent.
I can tell. You know, HR really is not just policies and procedures, but people, culture, development, and leadership. We will discuss what it means to build a meaningful career in HR, the skills needed to thrive, and the evolving future of this profession. So Christina Nelson has been at the forefront of these developments, leading with a vision and deep understanding of how people and institutions grow together. So yeah, let's start this beautiful interview.
So what I would say is, for those wanting to enter the HR profession, certain skills are definitely essential. Clear communication, emotional intelligence, analytical thinking, and a solid understanding of the labor law. These competencies form a foundation for effective decision making, and it helps professionals earn trust very quickly. As we look at a lot of the global trends when it comes to AI, digitalization, and for those of us who want to work remotely, HR has to transform, and we do that through technology that supports our hiring, engagement, and our workforce planning.
But you know, we can start one-on-one, actually, because when someone says, oh, you are in HR, they feel kind of scared and they should be very careful when they talk to you because, oops, they're being friendly and then there is a warning or something like that. So, what is your identity as an HR? How did you get into this field? And can you tell me your story? Introduce yourself as this very intimidating.
Interesting enough, I've always liked helping people and doing what I can as far as helping them find what they're passionate about, what gives them purpose, and how they want to interact. Because if you start out loving what you do, it doesn't feel like work. And you want to do more than just I'm working to survive, or I'm working to do this or that. You want to kind of enjoy what you do, because there are going to be good days, there's going to be crazy busy days where there's not enough hours in a day to help everyone. And unfortunately, sometimes when it comes to HR, you want to tell everyone yes, but sometimes no is the answer.
So it depends on their questions, you know?
It depends on the questions, but the most important thing is the transparency and consistency. And so people want to work at organizations where there's not a lot of favoritism, and they want to know, okay, do I stand an honest chance if I apply for a higher level position? And sometimes people confuse how long they've worked somewhere with have they actually developed their skills professionally to qualify for the role. Because I can see I'm lucky because we have a wealth of knowledge, experience, cultures, and talent at AUIB. Not just AUIB, but also at our sister companies. We have some phenomenal colleagues that I get to interact and work with throughout my entire time here. And one of the things is not to take things personally. A lot of people, they automatically go into, oh, you don't like me, you're not trying to help me. And it's not about that. It's okay, as the university is growing and evolving, there's a lot of different skill sets that are needed to keep us evolving and thriving, and making everyone want to stay here and come to work here.
Of course, actually. So the other day I met some students and we were talking about their passion, and one of them, they said, I wanted just to be an HR. It sounds very amazing and actually intimidating, scary. Okay, so I was wondering, if someone wants to be in HR, is there any kind of training, a degree, or a certificate that you should obtain in order to be in such position?
So the interesting thing is that for HR, some people will study human resources management, like I did, or business administration, but there's also some people who do organizational behavior and psychology, because you are dealing with people, and it's important that you understand how they're motivated, how they thrive, and also how they go about having a sense of belonging, because you want to be in an environment where you feel supported, and you want to see people want to see you win.
So you gotta be a people person.
You don't necessarily have to be a people person, because there is some like data analytics and behind the scenes stuff like processing that we do. And the biggest mistake is that everyone thinks HR is all about administration and paperwork. But we also try to do the fun stuff too.
Which is?
Which
Which is what? I want to know.
No, like just taking time to celebrate the wins. A lot of times as government rules, employment laws, and things change, we have to adapt our process and procedures. And so a lot of times, people don't like change. And
I can tell that.
But the thing is that as we're growing and the university is thriving and evolving, you need to be able to not get so caught up in this is how we've always done it, so this is how I want to do it tomorrow. Because as technology and the enhancements of AI, it actually helps to streamline some of the mundane tasks that people would rather not do.
Of course, actually. So I guess it's kind of difficult because you gotta be funny and lovable. At the same time, you gotta be very serious. One time you are friendly, the other you get, okay, see you at my office. There's a line. So, Christina, what are the misconceptions do people usually have about HR, especially students consider it as a career path?
Well, for some, it depends on if they actually know someone that works in HR, because every field has they have different personalities, and each company has their own cultural and rules, their mission and vision. And for AUIB, it's more about the sense of community and sharing of information. The problem is that when things are evolving so quickly, sometimes everyone is kind of busy and kind of in their own have their own deliverables or KPIs that they're trying to meet. And so it's just okay, just give me the quick version so that I can get this done. And, and being mindful of, while our team is used to following the process and procedures all the time, our colleagues are not. because we're interacting with people who are in and out of meetings. They are teaching classes. And so when it comes to oh, you want me to fill out this paperwork, I have to do it in the system. I can't just do the paper. Can I just, tell you over the phone and you do it for me? And it's just no.
But sometimes it sounds like a cliche, like a cliche, you have to do it.
And they're just but I want to be the exception. And I'm but you're not. But at the same time, we have to be consistent in how we treat people. And so if I say yes to you, I have to say yes to all the different colleges and the departments. And at the end of the day, we are a small but mighty team. And if we're doing all the work for everybody, other things get delayed or not finished. And so one of the things where we're non-negotiable on is when it comes to payroll. So payroll has clear deadlines, and it's just if you want to hire, we have deadlines because we have to get approvals. And in order to get those approvals, the documents have to be completed. And so you'll have people that say they'll use an old template or something and be well, just put it through. And it's just but these are official records that we have to maintain.
So if a passionate student is listening right now and they are oh my God, amazed of all these kind of data information, do you think that they would still want to pursue this career?
I think so, because one of the things with HR is constantly evolving. Back when HR was first starting, everyone called it personnel, and it was just I'm gonna work in the personnel department. And
personnel.
It was originally called personnel.
Personnel,
and then eventually it evolved. then eventually it evolved into human resources, and then now some people are calling it people operations or people and talent and culture. So it just depends on the identity that the organization wants to take.
And so do you think that what qualifies you is being like more people person, or more like, sorry, I said a lot of people person right now, but or the training and the certificates and the degrees? Like, what is better, the talents, like you being yourself?
I think part of it is being yourself and knowing what, because HR typically is pouring into the company or the organization. And so it's important that if you're in HR, you're also still maintaining self-care, and work-life balance for yourself. Because what happens sometimes with employees is they will make a connection with one person and they want to talk to that person for everything.
Oh,
and so
yeah, I've seen this.
So in HR, we have like, there's certain responsibilities that each member of the team is responsible for. But if Dina, you make that connection with me, you're like, well, I don't want to go see the people on your team. I'm just going to go see Christina because when I needed help before, she was the one that helped me.
Yeah,
so she can help me with everything.
Like, it's kind of a connection. And do you think this is a right to have?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the connections, but it's also like you want to make sure you're not overstepping so that another colleague feels like, well, this is my responsibility. Why are you doing my job? And so you want to kind of be respectful about it. And so like, and a prime thing is that when, say like if I go on vacation and I know I'm going to be away because I'm going to be doing like family stuff and traveling. Yeah. And just, hanging out with my husband and my adult kids now.
Adult kids, okay. They should listen to Young Age Crisis.
If I call them babies now, they would be like quite upset because they're in their 20s. And so when you're leaving, you want to make sure that everyone on the team is aware of what the process and the procedures are, because even if I'm not in the office, employees still need to be helped, and they still need to be supported. And so if everything is hung up just on me, that can be not just like draining, but it's not realistic. You don't want to have a single point of failure in any team because people need help every day.
So if you were supposed to give an advice for a student who is passionate about this, and would you like give an advice saying don't be alone in this field?
I think it's important to have a mentor and also look into some
even if you are the HR.
Even if you are, like I still have like my old boss that I still stay connected with. Because after a while you need to have that safe space where it's like, okay, here's the situation, because they can give you honest feedback of, okay, maybe I'm being too tunnel and I'm just not looking at this the right way. And you want to have people that have way more experience than you. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 20 years and I still, I'm still learning. Wow. Because as things are evolving, you're constantly, you need to take your own professional development seriously. And so it's like, for me, it's like, if you're going to lead a department, you still have to invest and pour into yourself, because if I'm empty, I don't have anything to share with the team. And so as AI is coming out and we're evolving and we're having multiple generations of employees working, you have to be able to kind of pair things up where there's some people when they look at the qualifications of someone and they're just like, oh, well, they're overqualified or they're underqualified. And when we're hiring, we're looking at, okay, what are your credentials, but also what is your personality? Are you open? Are you going to have initiative, or are you someone that you need a task where you have to keep assigning tasks? And with HR, when you're dealing with people, you have to have active listening and be honest and transparent. And so for me, I do my best not to overpromise and underdeliver, because people have these expectations. And so it's important to like ask clarifications and say, what does this timeline look for the recruitment that you want to do?
Oh, that's a lot of work, actually. And gotta be all of that transparent.
Well, because the thing is that if you're transparent, you don't have to worry about someone mistaking like what advice you gave them, because it's like, well, when I'm giving you advice, it's based on the information that you've shared. So if you withheld anything,
So, speaking of AI, you've mentioned AI before. I gotta ask you this. How is HR adapting trends like AI, remote work, and do you think that the future generation of the HR should learn those new skills or trends?
Definitely. Because if you're not learning, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're not evolving. And if you're not evolving, you're not living.
Really? Oh my God, that's a lot. And there is a trend on Instagram I mean to ask you about, because they always mention the HR. Like Gen Z, for example, they travel the world and they are trying to have this kind of free spirit. So when they work from home, they tend to travel. And by traveling, they can work, actually, sit in a cafe. But the HR does not allow that. When they see them like traveling, they panic. What is that?
Some of it has to do with in HR, employees expect for their information to not be compromised and to be kept confidential. And if you're just out and about talking about a personnel matter in a cafe, you never know who is around and who may know that person or overhear something they shouldn't. And so when it comes to maintaining confidentiality and also personal information, that's where there's the collusion of, we want the documents to be secure and not to be able, because when you're sitting in like, for example, if you're on the plane and you're flying and you're looking at stuff on your phone, people just look. And you can't like you can't necessarily do anything about it or secure it. But like when I'm traveling, like they're like, someone can be sitting next to me and they can't read what's on my phone because I have a privacy screen. Because I know that, people innately, if you get an alert or something and your phone is faced up, people just, they look.
Okay. So I have this question for you, and actually on behalf of many students, I gotta ask, for students interested in pursuing HR, what steps should they do or take during university to prepare themselves to this field?
So typically, if they're in the business, in the College of Business, because one of the classes is HR management and strategic management and a couple other classes, but usually you want to find like where your passion is. And so that's why a lot of times people will look into will take minors where the family might agree that I'm going to study law, but then I realize, I'm passionate about HR. So that's where minors come into play, where it's like you can meet the expectations of your family, but you can also explore some of your passion. Because when you're in college, that's a time for you to explore. Everyone has like their own map of what they want their life to be, but it's also important to give yourself grace and the ability to ask questions, volunteer for some organizations. They have Society of Human Resources Management. They have HRCI, which is another international organization. And we also have CIPD, and they actually have classes and certifications that you can take. Some of them are actually free webinars. They're free webinars that you can do where you just find out what are the going trends in HR. There's also a lot of diverse trainings in LinkedIn, and there's a lot of free resources. So it's not always, you don't always have to pay to get quality instruction.
Yeah. So this is going to be the last question, and I hope just like one sentence and two. Can you give an advice for those students who want to be part of the future of the HR? Just one sentence or two, like encourage them. What would you say, the advice?
I would say follow your heart, and and also remember that HR, while don't forget the human, means that there's a human behind that process or that procedure. And a lot of times we're not saying no because we want to. It usually comes down to policy and procedures. And when you want to be consistent in how you're embedding what you want your work culture to be, it's important to be consistent and transparent.
Okay. That's actually very nice advice. Thank you so much, Christina Nilsson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm hosting you here. So Thank you so much. And that was a fruitful interview. And I hope the listeners enjoyed this conversation. And I'm sure they did.
If not, I'm hoping to see them at a nearby job fair or something, because we are still hiring for some key opportunities at AUIB. And we love to have some more amazing colleagues on our campus.
Of course. So guys, go to the AUIB website, see the jobs available, and apply. We're going to be waiting for you.
Thanks.